Breaking right now on Morning News Now, home at last. This morning, journalist Evan Gershkovich and two other Americans waking up on U.S. soil. This follows an elaborate multinational prisoner exchange, the largest deal between the U.S. and Russia since the Cold War.
I just say thank you to everybody. Thank you for all your prayers, your good wishes. Thanks for doing everything you did.
Now the freed prisoners reuniting with their families, an emotional ending to months, even years of separation and heartache. We have team coverage with the terms of the historic exchange, plus reaction from the White House and what happens next. Also this morning, the race for president heating up just 3 months to Election Day. Vice President Kamala Harris now closer to officially becoming the Democratic nominee, while former President Trump faces the fallout over comments he made about Harris's racial identity. We're going to take you to the campaign trail. Plus, forget Christmas in July, it's Halloween in August. Early sales of spooky season decor are inspiring a new summer trend. And they've done it again. Simone Biles and Suni Lee back on the podium for Team USA after an incredible individual all-around final in women's gymnastics. Biles continuing her comeback after exiting the Tokyo Olympics, winning another gold in Paris. And in the pool, Katie Ledecky winning her lucky 13th medal, making her the most decorated American female Olympian ever. Plus, the Olympian we didn't know we needed. We're going to catch up with the one and only Snoop Dogg to find out what's the drizzle, his love for the Summer Games, and how he went from the LBC to Perry. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Friday. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. Let's begin with Simone Biles staying golden. She's already known as the GOAT, yet Biles padded her resume, becoming the only American to win the women's all-around twice. And get this, at 27 years old, she is the oldest women's Olympic all-around champion since Maria Gorokaskaya. There's some history for you. She won the first ever title back in 1952. She was joined on the podium by teammate Suni Lee, who took home the bronze after a fantastic floor routine. And the winning did not stop there for Team USA. For the first time since 1960, the men's coxless 4 rowing team took home the gold. Back on land, it was more history for Team USA, with the American women taking home their first ever foil fencing gold in the team competition. And speaking of history, Katie Ledecky officially stands alone with a silver medal in the 4x200 free. Ledecky won her 13th medal overall, making her the most decorated American female Olympian ever. All that winning, well, it helped pad a commanding lead in the medal count for Team USA, with France and China rounding out the top 3. We're going to have more Olympics coverage throughout the morning. Now to our top story this morning, the release of 4 U.S. residents who were wrongly imprisoned in Russia. It is the largest prisoner swap between the U.S. and Russia since the Cold War. In all, the exchange involved 24 people and 7 countries. Overnight, 3 Americans landed on U.S. soil: journalist Evan Gershkovich, former Marine Paul Whelan, and journalist Alsu Kermasheva. They're in San Antonio this morning, where they'll be evaluated at Brooke Army Medical Center. It's the same facility where WNBA star Brittany Griner was taken after she was released from Russian custody back in 2022. The Biden administration says the 4th U.S. resident released yesterday, Vladimir Kara-Murza, he was headed to Germany. That's where he's going to reunite with his family before returning to the U.S. Gershkovich, Whelan, and Kermasheva, they all arrived back in the U.S. just before midnight at Joint Base Andrews. It was an emotional reunion. They were greeted by President Biden, Vice President Harris, and many of their loved ones. Earlier in the day, President Biden let the nation know they were coming home.
Their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free. This is an incredible relief for all the family members gathered here. It's a relief to the friends and colleagues all across the country who've been praying for this day for a long time.
The front page today of the Wall Street Journal, where Gershkovich works, shows him and his mother embracing. The headline simply reads, "Evan Gershkovich is free." We have team coverage ahead this hour. We're joined by NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch, who's outside Brooke Army Medical Center. We're also joined by NBC News reporter Matt Bodner and NBC News White House correspondent Ali Rafa. Good morning to all of you. Jesse, let's start with you in Texas, where these wrongfully detained Americans have touched down. Set the scene. What have the last few hours been like for them, and what's next for them today?
Yeah, Joe, good morning. That was their second touchdown here in the U.S. First, they arrived at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. They were greeted by President Biden, Vice President Harris, as well as members of their family. For some, haven't seen these loved ones in years. They then took off again with their family members to come to Texas. They arrived overnight in the last couple hours in San Antonio, not far from where I am now. And as you mentioned today, according to a U.S. government official, all three of these now freed Americans are heading to Brooke Army Medical Center. They will participate in post-isolation support activities. That is how it is described. This is the same kind of support services that Brittany Griner received when she was freed from Russia in recent years. Paul Whelan spoke out briefly upon the group's arrival here in Texas overnight. Here's what he had to say.
It didn't feel real until we were flying over England. I'm a British citizen, Irish citizen, Canadian, and American. So as we came over England and I looked down, that's when it became real. Getting off the plane, seeing the president, the vice president, that was nice. It was a good homecoming. So looking forward to seeing my family down here and just recuperating from 5 years, 7 months, and 5 days of just absolute nonsense by the Russian government.
And again, more than 5 years later, he's now back in the U.S. here in Texas. Joe.
All right, Matt, let's turn to you. As we mentioned, this prisoner swap, it was complicated. It involved 24 people, several countries. Walk us through how this came together behind the scenes.
Thanks, Joe. Well, now the deal is done, and we're obviously learning a lot more about it. We didn't know too much previously because the sensitivity, the complexity of this, any information coming out too soon could have blown the deal even in the final moments. We're learning the Wall Street Journal, of course, leading the charge with filling in the backstory on this. And it's really incredible. So many actors, so many players in several governments, outside of government, in the media, all taking part. But really, I want to focus this on one or two people specifically. The first being Ella, Evan Gershkovich's mother, who, of course, has been his biggest champion and has essentially been running around the world for the past 18 months, lobbying various governments to try to pitch in to try to help to get her son back. Of course, a lot of efforts in Washington and New York as well. But the other character I think that's important in this story is the German Chancellor Scholz, who clearly has been thinking about a deal, was thinking about a deal, though it began in sort of a different context, and that is with the late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who unfortunately in February passed away in Russian prison. We still don't fully understand what happened there, but this began more or less as a merging between efforts to get Gershkovich released by the U.S. And efforts by the Germans to try to see if there was a way to get Alexei Navalny back, with Olaf Scholz, the German chancellor, really feeling a personal connection to Navalny. Germany hosted Navalny after he almost died in Russia a few years ago from an FSB poisoning attempt. So the Germans have this relationship with Navalny, with the Navalny team, and the Russian opposition in general. So it was a merging of these two interests and a lot of lobbying by Ella Gershkovich, Evan's mother, essentially to get Scholz to fully accept giving away this Russian hitman, Vadim Krasnikov, who, of course, was plainly guilty for murder in the middle of Berlin in an extremely brazen assassination. So this was a bitter pill for the Germans to swallow, and a lot of efforts from Ella Gershkovich to convince the German chancellor that there was a way to still make a deal happen after Alexei Navalny had died. So that's really, it's interesting to see that was, as I was beginning to suspect, kind of a key piece to this story. We had heard that Navalny was part of a trade, and a trade was principally agreed around February 2nd. Navalny died 2 weeks later, and everything has essentially been worked from then to try to salvage this deal.
Just a fascinating backstory. Another fascinating thing from the Wall Street Journal explaining that Evan actually put in a request to interview Putin before leaving Russia, a journalist first, despite everything he's gone through. Allie, let's talk about the role the Biden administration played in trying to secure the safe release of these prisoners. What else are we hearing from the president?
Yeah, Joe, well, we've long heard President Biden tout his decades-long relationships with world leaders, and officials are crediting those relationships for this big puzzle coming together and resulting in this successful news. And the president says that this effort even began before he was president, when he was just president-elect, when he directed his diplomatic team to start these talks, to hit the ground running when he took the oath of office. But they say that a major milestone was hit when WNBA star Brittany Griner was released in 2022. They say that several iterations of this deal existed, like Matt mentioned, involving Alexei Navalny. And when Navalny died in Russian custody, it really knocked the wind out of the sails of these talks. But they say a major breakthrough was hit back in January when the president met with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and really talked about how the German Chancellor held the key to this deal for those reasons Matt mentioned, with that Russian in German custody. And they say that the president involved all of these other countries, Slovenia, Poland, Norway, Turkey, which provided safe passage for these prisoners to return to their home countries. And he personally thanked them for all of their involvement, saying many of them made uncomfortable concessions in this deal. Listen to his comments here.
Alliances make a difference. They stepped up. They took a chance for us. It mattered a lot. So I'm delighted they're home. The toughest call on this one for other countries, because I asked them to do some things that were against their immediate self-interest. And really very difficult for them to do, particularly Germany and Slovenia.
And we're told the final details of this deal came together in just the last 2 weeks, of course, when the president was facing one of the most difficult decisions of his political career, to drop out of the 2024 race and leave the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris, both of them saying yesterday that their work is not over and they're going to continue working to get other Americans wrongfully detained around the world back home.
All right. Jesse, Matt, Allie, thank you all. Appreciate it. For more on this, let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, William Taylor. He's also the Vice President at the U.S. Institute of Peace. Ambassador Taylor, always good to have you with us. So this massive prisoner swap includes people who were convicted of violent crimes, cyber and financial crimes. These are tough choices for politicians. So what do you say to someone who's a critic like House Speaker Johnson, who says this exchange rewards bad behavior on the part of Putin?
Well, it is terrible behavior on the part of Putin and the Russians. There's no doubt about that. This is always a hard dilemma. This is a difficult decision for anyone to make. The release assassins and convicted criminals and hackers and money launderers, and in order to get back innocent Americans and Germans and Russian human rights defenders. So this is a hard one. But the contrast between what the Russians got back, criminals, assassins, and what we got back, or what the West got back, journalists doing their job. This is a tough trade-off, but it was certainly worth it to bring these Americans and others home.
Ambassador, even though they're home now, several other Americans, as we know, remain in custody in Russia. What is it going to take to bring them home too?
Continued diplomacy. This is the triumph for diplomacy, getting these people back, these 8 overall and 3 Americans. This is an important move, but it's going to take more in order to get these others back. It's always a question of wrongfully detained or not. And these 3 Americans were clearly wrongfully detained. It's a difficult decision to make each time. The diplomats have done a very good job, and the CIA these people have done a very good job. That's going to have to continue.
Are swaps pretty much the only option here? Is there any other way to get these people back?
The Russians are not going to let them go. The Russians have either taken them because they are troublemakers from the Russian standpoint, or so there's no pressure that we can bring economically is going to make the Russians leave them. So, yes, I think it is swaps that is going to be the mechanism for bringing other people home.
All right. Ambassador William Taylor, always appreciate your expertise. Thanks for joining us this morning. Tensions in the Middle East are growing. Israel says it is on high alert following threats of retaliation from Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Those threats come after the deaths of 3 high-profile Hamas or Iranian-linked figures, all killed by Israel in the last few weeks. Yesterday, Israel announced the death of a Hamas military chief, which actually happened weeks earlier during an airstrike last month in Gaza. And just this week, Hamas's political chief was killed while on a political visit to the Iranian capital of Tehran. For more, we're joined by NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez, who's in Tel Aviv. Raf, good morning. How are Israeli leaders responding to this trio of threats?
Joe, good morning. Israeli forces are on high alert, and they are looking out for threats from multiple directions, potentially from the north, from Lebanon, where Hezbollah says it will take revenge for the assassination of that senior Hezbollah commander, Fouad Shukr. You're seeing him on the right of your screen there. He was killed in an Israeli strike in Beirut. But Israel also bracing for the possibility that we are going to see Iranian cruise missiles, Iranian ballistic missiles, Iranian drones fired towards Israel in response to the killing of Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas's political chief, in Tehran earlier on this week. So Israel is taking this seriously. We know Israel's allies are taking this seriously. President Biden has said that there will be additional U.S. forces deployed in the Middle East to try to protect Israel. But this is a serious, serious moment right now. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel will exact a heavy price in response for any aggression.
Raf, we know yesterday top Iranian officials met with representatives from its regional allies. We're talking about Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen. They discussed possible retaliation. Do we have any idea what that could even look like?
So we do, Joe, because you might remember back in April, Iran fired this absolutely enormous barrage of 300 missiles and drones towards Israel. The skies of this country absolutely lit up, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, with that incoming fire. Now, most of those projectiles were actually shot down, not just by Israel's own air defenses, but by American forces across the Middle East, by other Israeli allies, including, interestingly, some Arab countries who have difficult relationships with Israel but played a role in defending the country. What could be different this time, Joe, is we may see this Iranian attack potentially coordinated with an attack from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and you could imagine the Houthis down in Yemen.
Raf, before all this week's developments, there were whispers we could be nearing a ceasefire deal in Gaza. We know President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke yesterday. Real quick, what do we know about that conversation?
So interestingly, Joe, they didn't explicitly talk, according to a White House readout, about a ceasefire in Gaza. They did talk in general about de-escalating tensions in the region. I think it's fair to say these negotiations were difficult already, but the fact that Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas political chief, was one of Hamas's key negotiators, and he has now been killed in such a high-profile fashion, makes these talks all the more difficult. Joe.
All right. Raf Sanchez in Tel Aviv. Raf, thank you so much. Here in the U.S., voting is officially underway to make Vice President Kamala Harris the officially Democratic nominee. Nearly 5,000 delegates received their ballots yesterday. They have till Monday to cast their votes. As for former President Trump, he's facing intense backlash from leaders in his own party for his controversial comments about Harris's racial identity. NBC's Garrett Hake has the latest.
The Trump campaign facing more backlash over the former president's false claims about the racial identity of Vice President Harris. Running mate J.D. Vance defending former President Trump.
Trump's point is that she is a chameleon. She presents a different face depending on the audience she speaks to. You don't want a person like that as President of the United States.
Trump made the comments during a panel interview with black journalists.
She was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Harris is the daughter of Indian and Jamaican immigrants and attended a historically black college. But Trump continuing to press his false claims in this social media post, writing, quote, "Thank you, Kamala, for the nice picture you sent from many years ago." Harris largely shrugging off Trump's comments at a black sorority conference.
It was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better.
Republican Maryland Senate candidate Larry Hogan calling Trump's comments, quote, unacceptable and abhorrent. And this from a top Trump ally.
She's always embraced her heritage proudly, as she should.
Meanwhile, Vance with border officials in Arizona.
Kamala Harris came into office making promises, and she kept those promises to open the American southern border.
Slamming Harris for high numbers of migrants and fentanyl coming into the U.S.
There are a lot of moms and dads out there who will never see their kids walk down the aisle because of what Kamala Harris has unleashed at this border.
Our thanks to Garrett Hake for that report. Let's get to your weekend forecast. We're tracking the latest on those heat alerts that seemingly no one can escape, but there could be some hope for the east, right, Angie?
You are exactly right, Joe. Yes, we are waking up to plenty of heat alerts, and we've already rolled into August, but this has been something that we've been dealing with for basically the entire month of July. Now we're transitioning into August with more of the same, but when it comes to July, hottest July temperatures ever recorded in dozens of spots. We've got Portland, we've got Las Vegas, Bakersfield, Yuma, up into the Northeast. We've got Hartford, and of course down south, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando included in that. When we see, because July is normally typically the warmest month of the year, when we see these hottest Julys being broken year after year, that means that they become the all-time hottest month on record. Now we've transitioned into August, and we haven't seen a whole lot of relief for a lot of folks. We've still got 138 million people under heat alerts as we head into the weekend. Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Raleigh, up through parts of the Northeast, Boston, Washington, D.C., and New York included. We've got parts of the Northwest, parts of the Southwest included, and this is going to be something we deal with for the next couple of days, at least. We're going to see temperatures out west, the actual values ending up into the triple digits, much like they have over the past couple of days. We've got 101 on tap for Salt Lake City, Rapid City at 102, high 90s for Denver. So these temperatures above normal, around 10 degrees above normal in some spots. But notice across parts of the Southwest, we've still got the really warm actual temperatures, but we've got to add that humidity in. It's making all the difference. Atlanta expect to have a feels like temperature later today of 100 degrees. We've got 109 in Jackson. As we get into tomorrow, your Saturday plans in Lubbock and Phoenix and Fresno, Salt Lake City too, it's going to be over 100. So plan for that. Denver, not much relief for you guys either. 95 degrees for your Saturday and into Sunday and early next week. Even the East will start to see things kind of winding down back to at least the low 90s. So it'll feel a little better, guys. And at this point, we'll take what we can get, right, Joe? Dallas will still hang on to those triple digits Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Honestly, doesn't look like we're going to see a whole lot of relief in a big way beyond that. But any little improvement is going to be helpful when we're talking about 97 degrees on Monday in Memphis.
Just cooling off to the low 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than
breeze.
a feels like of 110, right?
Good point.
Looking
It's all relative. All right, Angie, thank you so much. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, the battle over the border taking center stage on the campaign trail, as you just heard a moment ago. VP Harris defending her record. Well, Trump claims she's to blame. We're going to look back at her history in addressing the crisis. Up first after the break, outrage and defiance over the controversial killing of Sonia Massey. Why the sheriff says he is not stepping down. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The sheriff who oversaw the deputy involved in the fatal shooting of Sonia Massey says he will not step down. That's despite calls from Massey's family for him to resign. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa sat down with Sheriff Jack Campbell to talk about the former deputy's training, his record, and his actions inside Massey's home.
Nearly a month after the death of Sonia Massey, the Illinois sheriff who hired and fired the deputy charged in her murder sat down with us to answer our questions. This just hours after his office released a trove of documents and recordings, including a 911 call from Sonia Massey's mom.
She gets upset, then she thinks everybody's after her. Like paranoid schizophrenic.
Sonia Massey's mother heard on newly released 911 calls warning her daughter was having a mental breakdown.
And please don't send no combative policemen that are prejudiced, please.
Okay, well, that would be done
kill
of them, and they just do their job, okay?
I'm scared of the police. Please, please.
There's nothing to be fearful of, ma'am.
The sheriff's office confirms that call came in one day before then Deputy Sean Grayson shot and killed Massey in her Springfield, Illinois home.
I'll shoot you and you better I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry. It sounds like Sonia's mom was trying to warn authorities, potentially warn your agency. How does that hit you now, knowing what happened?
Well, I haven't heard the tape. I'm certainly concerned. I want our deputies to have all the information they can before they arrive, and so I don't know why that wasn't transmitted.
Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell releasing Grayson's personnel records showing 2 of his past employers said he needed more training. A third advised Grayson did not demonstrate good officer safety skills. The sheriff says he put Grayson through 16 weeks of training, adding Grayson's previous employers, namely Logan County, never informed him of allegations of misconduct, including records show lying about a high-speed chase that violated department policy.
It's unfortunate. We needed the information, and it's a informal process, and it was not provided.
Logan County not responding to our request for comment. Grayson's pleaded not guilty to charges related to Massey's death, his attorney declining to comment. Massey's family is calling on the sheriff who fired Grayson to resign. Will you resign?
I will not resign. I understand the pain, that they're hurting, and they want to hold somebody accountable. We are holding somebody accountable. That is Sean Grayson. He did this. He alone did this.
The sheriff also said in our interview that he knew before hiring Grayson about his misdemeanor DUI convictions back in 2015 and 2016, but he said in his mind that shouldn't prevent someone almost a decade later from getting a job in law enforcement. It's also worth noting that does not disqualify him under Illinois law. Back to you.
All right, Maggie Vespa, thank you. International news now, starting with the latest on the controversial election in Venezuela. U.S. Secretary Blinken speaking out in support of Maduro's opposition. NBC's Claudio Lavanga has that and other headlines from around the world. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. Just days after Nicolas Maduro was declared the winner in Venezuela's presidential elections, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said there is overwhelming evidence that it was the opposition candidate who won instead. Now, in a statement, Blinken said that it is clear that Edmundo Gonzalez had won the most votes. The disputed results triggered widespread protests across Venezuela, and several countries, including Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia, called on Maduro to release the full results of the election. And let's go to England now, where a judge decided to name the 17-year-old boy who earlier this week killed 3 girls, young girls, and injured several others in that dance class stabbing attack. He was named as Axel Ruda Cubana. He was born in Cardiff, Wales, from parents originally from Rwanda, and he has been living in Southport, the town in northwest England where the attack took place. Now, the judge decided to release this information, even if he is a minor, to curb speculation and misinformation about him, who was identified as an asylum seeker on social media, sparking clashes in several cities. And let's end this tour of the world in Japan, where a bar charges customers a lot of yen to be slapped, kicked, or princess carried by very fit and muscled waitresses. Among the activities on the menu in the aptly named Muscle Girls Bar in Tokyo are the possibility for patrons to ride on the waitresses' shoulders while they perform squats, or watch them crush grapefruits with their bare hands to make cocktails. Well, Joe, I guess it would be very dangerous to order among those cocktails a punch, because that may be misunderstood as an invitation to punch them. But with all that slapping around, Joe, I guess that's the only bar in the world where you come out feeling dizzy without drinking a sip of alcohol.
Yeah. Imagine if you add the alcohol to all that. My goodness. All right. Thank you, Claudio. Appreciate it. All right. Coming up, singer Justin Timberlake set to face a judge today in his drunk driving case. Our legal analyst, Danny Ceballos, is here to break down the charge against him and what to expect from today's hearing. Stay with us. This is Morning News Now. We're back with the latest on the DWI charge against Justin Timberlake. The pop star is set to make a virtual appearance in court today. He'll be arraigned while he continues his tour in Europe. Attorneys for the singer have filed a motion to dismiss the case. Timberlake was arrested back in June and charged with driving while intoxicated for allegedly veering out of his lane and rolling through a stop sign. NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos joins us now with more on this. So a judge decided he could appear virtually because he's touring overseas. Is this surprising to you at all? And then just in general, what do we expect in today's hearing?
Judges in general have a lot of discretion here. Unless the rules prohibit it for that particular court or that state, then a judge can allow some video appearances. And this is especially so in a post-COVID era. That changed the landscape completely. Judges have a lot more power in that area. And with Justin Timberlake, it isn't so much celebrity treatment. It's that the courthouse would be a madhouse if Justin Timberlake were showing up in person. So generally speaking, courts can be accommodating if they want to. It's just that they don't always want to.
So following Timberlake's virtual court appearance last week, his attorney said the pop star not intoxicated during the time of his arrest. They want the charges dropped. They're citing issues with the documents submitted by police. Do they have a good argument there? What kind of errors are they talking about?
So first, they're talking about technical errors in the charging instrument. I defend a lot of DUIs. This is exactly the thing that you look for. You take a look at that complaint and you look for any errors you can find. If they're fatal defects, you try to get the case thrown out early. If there's something you can cross-examine the officer on, you hold on to it until hearing or trial. But this is very common to make these kinds of motions. They're very rarely granted, at least to dismiss the case in its entirety. Judges tend to like to let a case go to at least to an evidentiary hearing or to trial.
Which begs my next question. What happens after today? Is there a point where Timberlake would have to return to the U.S. and actually appear in court in person?
Yes, in all likelihood, if this case goes to trial or if he pleads guilty, he will be in person for that. Generally speaking, the defendant has to be there. In fact, in criminal court, the defendant, unlike civil court, has to be present at everything, because at the end of every court proceeding, he's usually signing a subpoena ensuring that he'll show up at the next court hearing. So for the most part, the general rule is criminal cases, the defendant has to be there and has to be there in person.
Does it feel like a plea deal is a possibility here, or are we not quite there yet?
No, at least not based on what his attorney is saying. His attorney probably thinks he can take this to trial. Look, DUI cases can be very defensible depending on the facts. And in this case, it may end up being that Justin Timberlake's refusal of the chemical test may have been a good strategic move by the singer.
All right, Danny Savalos, appreciate it. Thank you so much. This morning, we're taking an in-depth look at one of the biggest issues in this presidential election, the crisis at the southern border. Now that Vice President Kamala Harris is the clear frontrunner for the nomination for the Democratic Party, the focus is on her role as the, quote, border czar. It's a term her campaign is pushing back on. Joining us now with a closer look on how VP Harris has handled the border crisis is NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. Julia, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. This is something we are likely to hear nonstop about, especially from the Trump campaign. We just saw J.D. Vance at the border yesterday, where he talked about Harris being a border czar, and look, she hasn't done nearly enough at the border. But actually, that isn't the term or the title or really even the assignment that Harris was given. So we wanted to take a look on exactly what she was asked to do and how she lived up to those expectations. Take a listen.
Since rising to the top of the ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris's handling of the border under renewed scrutiny and attack.
She was a border czar. She's done a horrible job.
But the White House and Harris campaign say border czar is an unfair label. The job Biden assigned her in March 2021 was to address the root causes of immigration in Central America.
Because we can chew gum and walk at the same time, must address the root causes that cause people to make the trek.
After that announcement, Harris visited Mexico and Guatemala. While in Mexico, Harris forged an agreement that has led the U.S. to commit $4 billion in direct assistance to Central America and over $5.2 billion in private investment in the region from U.S. companies. The White House says those investments are creating jobs and have connected more than 4.5 million people to the internet and brought more than 2.5 million people into the formal financial system. But in Guatemala, she garnered pushback from immigration advocates for telling migrants don't come to the U.S.
Do not come.
You had a message for would-be migrants. Don't come. Why should they believe you when they know that people are getting in?
The people who are here for generations, or if we know the history of Guatemala for centuries, they want to stay. They don't want to leave, but they need opportunity. They need assistance.
Also pressed by NBC's Lester Holt about why she hadn't visited the border, a criticism from Republicans.
So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
2 weeks later, Harris made a trip to El Paso, where she toured border facilities. After that trip, Harris's public-facing work on immigration largely fell off. She made one more Central American trip for the inauguration of Honduras's new president in 2022 and held 2 in-person meetings with the presidents of Mexico and Guatemala in D.C. Since Harris's work began, immigration from Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras has fallen dramatically, from over 86,000 in March 2021 to just over 25,000 in June 2024. But some experts say Harris shouldn't get much credit for that.
How much credit can Harris take for that decline from Central America?
I don't think that immigration has been one of her top priorities.
Andrew Seeley is the president of the nonpartisan think tank Migration Policy Institute.
I'm not sure how much Vice President Harris has been engaged in those discussions outside of the private sector part and some of the diplomatic work.
In the meantime, migration from other parts of the world, including Venezuela, China, Central Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa, are all on the rise. Harris's immigration record traces back to before she became VP. As California Attorney General, she regularly met with Latin American officials to fight organized crime. And as a senator in 2017, she led a group of Democratic lawmakers who threatened to withhold votes on a federal spending bill that did not include protections for DACA recipients. The nation's top Border Patrol union says some agents are unconvinced by Harris's record so far.
What reaction does the name Kamala Harris evoke among Border Patrol agents?
It's not a good one. A lot of people roll their eyes. Nobody's seen any results from her efforts.
Meanwhile, on the campaign trail, Harris is defending her immigration record, pointing to her work combating transnational crime as California AG and the Biden administration's border security bill.
And I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump killed, and I will sign it into law.
The Harris campaign, of course, points out that this is something she continues to work on. And we should also point out that the numbers at the border have fallen dramatically since December, now down to illegal border crossings just being over 87,000 in the month of June compared to over 250,000 in December. Now, it's not clear. In fact, the experts we talked to say Harris should not get the credit for that. It's largely the new asylum policies, but those were brought in by the Biden administration. And this is something we're going to start to hear more from Kamala Harris about.
All right, Julia, appreciate the deep dive there. Thank you so much. Coming up, you've heard about Christmas in July. How about Halloween in August? Yeah, that's right. Spooky season starting really early this year, thanks to some very eager retailers. We'll explain the new trend next. Don't Google anywhere. You're watching Morning News now. Seems every year stores are putting out their holiday decorations earlier and earlier. Christmas creep comes to mind. Well, now in the height of a sweltering summer, a new trend has emerged: Summerween. Yeah, with nearly 3 months to go before the end of October, Halloween-themed decor is already hitting store shelves, and people are even throwing parties to celebrate all that is spooky. Joining us now to shed a little light on this new trend, Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Caleb, no Halloween decorations behind you there. So what is Summerween? Is this a new thing this year? Has it been trending for a little bit? Tell us about it.
Yeah, this story is freaking me out, Joe, because they're trying to scare us into pulling sales forward for these big holidays that we love spending money on. And Halloween and Summerween is really coined by a Disney Channel show called Gravity Falls. In this Oregon town, they love Halloween so much they celebrate it twice a year. Well, a TikToker picked up on this. She created a little video with decorating outside of her home in the middle of summer with some music, and I think that's where it took off. But Michael's stores, Target, Home Depot, all the big retailers pushing Halloween sales forward, even Christmas sales. Michael's calls it Code Orange, and they've already started selling a lot of Halloween decor, gifts, and candy. We're expected to have spent some $12 billion on Halloween just last year, half of that for candy. But everybody loves decorating their homes, and you can't start early enough as far as these retailers are concerned.
I'm guessing they do this because the sales are successful. So, I mean, do companies make more pushing these sales earlier, shifting their sales numbers earlier? How does this work for them?
Yeah, they're basically bringing sales forward. And we know the third quarter, especially around Halloween, sales are pretty good, but you can't start early enough, especially if there's trends going on online and people are already starting to decorate. That's going to drive people into the stores, but they're also offering discounts on this. But Joe, back down in Miami, close to Miami, Costco already has 12-foot werewolves and scarecrows outside of their stores. And even some stores, retailers, are starting to push Christmas. So they're bringing sales forward a little bit, but if they're offering discounts and deals now, hoping that if the consumer slows down towards the third quarter, they'll have already captured a lot of those Halloween and Christmas sales.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we've seen this with Christmas deals and Black Friday. I assume this is a trend that's here to stay, or could we learn there's finally such a thing as too early?
I don't know if they'll ever be too early. We're probably going to start Easter sales anytime now. We just got through, getting through the summer here. So I think it's a trend that's here to stay. And when you see these things picked up online, especially by influencers and TikTokers and Instagram, it just drives a sales cycle a little bit more. So these retailers are loving the fact that these influencers are doing a lot of the marketing for them. But why not put the stuff on the shelves now, throw it at a discount? It seems like a deal. And everybody, 70% of American households, decorated their home for Halloween last year. I think that's a trend that is also here to stay.
I just hope people don't start decorating now. That would be the ultimate.
That would freak me out too.
Yeah, exactly. And a reminder, by the end of this month, pumpkin spice latte is back. So,
hallelujah.
There you go. Caleb Silver, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Coming up, the Golden Girls are at it again. That's right. Simone Biles and Suni Lee back on the podium, with Biles collecting yet another gold. Our own Olympic champion, Jay Gray, he joins us from Paris. Look at him. He's all dressed up and ready to go. What is he wearing today? What's it going to be? Also, the unlikely champion of the Olympics, how the one and only Snoop Dogg became the biggest hype man for Team USA. Don't go a whizzle. This is Morning News Now. Back now with the latest Olympic win for Team USA that frankly has the rest of the world celebrating too. In a show-stopping performance yesterday, U.S. gymnastics superstar Simone Biles brought home the gold medal for the second time in the women's all-around final. Joining her on the podium, teammate Suni Lee, who won the bronze. You might recall she took home gold in Tokyo. Fun fact, only the second time in Olympic history that two U.S. women won medals in the all-around event. Our intrepid NBC News Olympics correspondent, Jay Gray, has been with us all week. We've been having fun with him. He's in Paris again with the latest. Jay, no question, Simone Biles made it clear she's indeed the GOAT. I don't even know what animal is above a goat. We might have to find a new animal for Simone Biles. What was your favorite part from yesterday's competition?
And all of it's so inspiring. I mean, she's so graceful and has so much power. Combining those two is amazing. And I love the vault. I thought she was great in the vault, and that's what caused her some problems in Tokyo. But give me the floor routine. Just to see that unbridled power combined with such focus and like I said, a grace that is unbelievably matched with all of that power. It was so cool to see her out there and see her enjoying it. That's one of the things I like the most, too. She had a huge smile all night. She knew she was in the zone and was really taking it in, really enjoying it. I still get goosebumps thinking about it, Joe. It was just so much fun. 6 golds, more than any other American gymnast ever, and she's not done. She could get at least 2 more golds in these Olympics, so it'll be neat to see. One other note, she's the first American ever to win gold twice in the individual all-arounds.
That is so awesome, and I just feel like she, it was nail-biting at first, because after 2 events she was trailing, and then you feel like she was just like, all right, enough of this. Right. We're gonna lock this down. I mean, she's not the only great on Team USA. Katie Ledecky made history. 13th Olympic medal, now the most decorated female Olympic swimmer in history. Who else did Team USA see on the podium yesterday?
Yeah, Ledecky, amazing, as you said. She is the swimming machine, as they call her, but she's also showing some emotion here, which is cool to see. Big win for the men's 4s in rowing. They hadn't won a gold since 1960. They come out of nowhere and grab the gold, so that was great to see. Women's team fencing, boy, what a tournament fencing has had here. They win the gold as well. Katie Douglas in the 200 breaststroke, she gets the gold, and Regan Smith in the 200 fly sets an American record. Not enough to win the gold, but she touches second and gets the silver. We more than doubled our number of gold medals in one day yesterday, Joe.
That is awesome. Regan Smith doing Minnesota proud. All right, Jay, we can't let you go without asking, what are you watching today? And talk about the Team USA medal count there, closing in on 40 medals.
Yeah, no, 37 right now, and they are closing in on that. And this may give it away a little bit, but I'm kind of interested in the USA golf that's going on right now. We're trying to show you some of the gear, and this is what the USA golfers are wearing. If it gets a bit bright out on the course, you just, you pop on your Team USA sunnies. You continue on with your round. We've got an update on round 2 right now. Xander Schauffele at 11 under now. He started the day in the silver position, but he has surged to the top of the leaderboard. Still a lot to go go, obviously. They got to finish today and 2 more rounds before it's all said and done. You've got Scotty Scheffler, who started the day in 6th at 4 under. He was really within reach of the lead, but he's just been kind of standstill. He hasn't really moved, and he's slipped back in a log jam now at 17th in this competition. I'm going to get a little greedy here, Joe. We're taking all the medals. I say we get one in golf as well. I think we need one in golf.
Why not? Let's go for it all. And, you know, Jay, it hit me yesterday. We're 1 week into this. There have been so many events to keep track of. And track and field hasn't even, started yet.
Right. Isn't that crazy? It's hard to believe that one of the premier events of these games hasn't even scratched the surface. Sha'Carri is on the track tonight. Sha'Carri Richardson. I got so excited I kind of lost it there. Sha'Carri Richardson on the track tonight. She should win the 100. It is going to be so cool to see those guys get into the arena here and get going. Should be a lot of fun.
Can't wait. Jay Gray, thank you so much for having fun with us this week. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's end this hour in the Olympic stands, where one rapper is quickly becoming the unexpected star of the Paris Games. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt sat down with the one and only Snoop Dogg to talk all things Olympics.
It turns out you don't need a medal to be an Olympic star, not when you're Snoop Dogg.
It's time!
Snoop is a crowd pleaser in Paris and making fun an Olympic sport of its own.
Nice, tight, close range fight. Up close and personal. Come on.
You've been doing your homework.
Yeah.
It's clear he respects the games and the fans.
Watch out now.
His commentary on point.
Got him. He put him in bed with the okie doke. He crossed him over.
I sat down with Snoop to talk about this new chapter in his career.
You're living your best life right now.
I am having fun. Let me stop lying. I am having fun.
Did you expect any of this?
Never. Never in my wildest dreams, especially as a kid growing up, you know, watching the Olympics, seeing how big this was and how...
So you did watch as a kid?
Yes.
I ran into you at beach volleyball.
Yes.
The other day, and you were leading the crowd, and you got...
You're
America's biggest cheerleader, right?
Come on, man. I'm the biggest kid in the crowd.
And he's been everywhere.
I put on a fencing outfit, and I fought against one of our medalists.
Don't say fought. It's a sport.
Well, I sparred. We'll use that.
He's done commentary for badminton.
Give me that. No, I need that. No, over here.
Swam with Michael Phelps. Rode a train with LeBron James. But for all his adventures in Paris, one moment stands out. His turn as torchbearer.
It's something I'm going to be able to live with and be happy with, to know that I was the face and the voice of peace for that one moment in time.
And our thanks to Lester Holt for that report. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. The news continues right now. Good Friday morning. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. Right now on Morning News Now, a multitude of medals. Team USA continues to dominate in Paris. Simone Biles stunning the world with an otherworldly floor routine that, let's face it, left us all floored and earned her yet another gold. And we can't forget about Suni Lee. She, too, took home some hardware from yesterday's all-around gymnastics final, clinching the bronze. And, of course, swimming superstar Katie Ledecky becoming the most decorated female American Olympian ever with a silver medal in yesterday's freestyle relay. We've got all the highlights in just a moment. Back here in the States, a different kind of celebration. 3 Americans who'd been imprisoned in Russia touching down on U.S. soil. President Biden and Vice President Harris welcoming them with open arms. Among them, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and former Marine Paul Whelan. But who are the other prisoners involved in this historic exchange, and who did Moscow get in return? We're also getting a fresh look at the state of America's economy this morning with a critical new jobs report. It comes on the heels of college graduation season. So where are the country's millions of new grads fitting into the workforce? We're going to dig into the numbers. And of course, since it's Friday, we've got your full rundown of the latest and greatest from Hollywood and beyond this weekend. Stay tuned for your can't miss list later in the hour. Let's begin with a historic day for the United States at the Paris Olympics. Let's take a look at the medal count this morning. You're going to see here, Team USA, they are out to a huge lead in the overall count. That's in part with a little help from the GOAT. We're talking about Simone Biles. The 27-year-old reached rare air Thursday, becoming the first American woman to take home the gold in the all-around twice. The win marked a huge chapter in the storybook return for Biles, who was forced to pull out of the Tokyo Games to focus on her mental health. After the win, Biles talked about that journey.
3 years ago, I never thought I'd step foot on a gymnastics floor again just because of everything that had happened. But with the help of Cecile and Laurent, I got back in the gym and worked really hard mentally and physically. Even this morning at 7 a.m., I saw my therapist. But at the end of the day, it is crazy that I am in the conversation of greatest of all athletes because I just still think I'm Simone Biles from Spring, Texas that loves to flip.
The history-making didn't stop there. The United States taking home gold in a variety of places. That includes men's 4 rowing. The victory marked the first American medal in the event since 2012. Its first gold in the event since the 1960 Rome Olympics. And this morning, we are lucky to be joined by 2 members of that gold medal team. We are so lucky to have Liam Corrigan and Nick Mead joining us right now. Hey, guys, congratulations to both of you. Just first of all, how are you feeling this morning?
I mean, it feels like a dream come true. It really does. I think I'm in an utter state of disbelief. And, to hear our names kind of alongside Simone Biles and Katie Ledecky, I mean, just feels so incredible. And to represent the USA on this stage feels awesome.
Liam, I want to take you back to yesterday's race. You guys are coming up on the finish with New Zealand, nipping at your heels a little bit. I mean, what's going through your mind in that moment? You realize you have the lead, but you want to win that gold. What's in your head at that time?
Yeah, I mean, you practice the race a lot and you have a sense that we're going to say these words and it kind of means we're going to do this or bring the rate up or go a little harder. And yeah, as you said, they took a push with about 500 meters to go. And I made a call red, which just kind of means go. And we had one last sort of pushing them, a little before the line. We managed to hold them off and we continued doing that through the line. It was just, the one thing going through my head was, hey, I've worked 4 years for this, and it would be a shame if we didn't win now, so might as well make the most of it while we're here.
4 years all adding up to that one moment right there. Nick, as I mentioned, I mean, you're part of the first American team to medal in this event in 12 years, the first to win gold in 64 years. That history, how does that make you feel, and what do you think makes this team so special?
Yeah, incredibly honored to be part of the Team USA legacy now, and, people in that 2012 boat who were the last ones to medal in the men's sport, they've been messaging us kind of the whole lead up to this race, giving us advice. So really feel a continuity there between us and past American crews, and just incredibly excited to show that the United States, when we kind of get things right, can really excel in any sport, even ones where we haven't had a lot of historic success in the recent term.
So, folks maybe can't tell from this shot here. One of you is clearly taller than the other, but the truth is you're like all really tall. Liam's 6'6". I believe 6'4" is the smallest member of your team. How do you guys all fit on the boat?
Yeah, I mean, the boats are kind of precision engineered, right? They're about 60 feet long, very narrow, only 2 feet wide. And so they're kind of custom built to just go as fast as possible in, what is relatively flat water. And so you can kind of get a shot of it there. And we fit in. We try to go up and down the slide and move the boat as quickly as possible. But it's we're all, you have to be pretty tall to sort of lever the boat along through the water. And that's why we're all kind of 6'5" or so.
Good to know. It's like a basketball team, but in a boat. All right, 10 seconds left here. How do you guys plan to celebrate once you're back in the U.S.?
Back in the U.S., gonna go back home to my fiance, settle down, and just have a nice, quiet life. Really excited for it. I think spend some time with a girlfriend and, just really enjoy and take a deep breath, I think.
Very good. Liam Corrigan, Nick Mead, congratulations on your big win. Thanks for speaking with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to say.
The other top news story, of course, today, overnight, there was a long-awaited homecoming for several Americans who were wrongfully detained in Russia. 3 of the 4 Americans who were released arrived back in the States just before midnight. They're part of a 7-nation prisoner swap involving the U.S., Russia, and more. They're being evaluated today at Brooke Army Medical Center in Texas. It was an emotional reunion with friends and family for journalist Evan Gershkovich, former Marine Paul Whelan, and journalist Alsu Kermasheva. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has the latest.
Good morning to you. What President Biden called a very good afternoon extended well into this morning. Those 3 freed Americans within the last few hours arriving in San Antonio, where they checked into Brooke Army Medical Center. They help care for any physical and psychological needs there of those who have been detained. They appear to be in remarkably good spirits. The journalist Evan Gershkovich seen joking with his family as they waited to move on. Overnight, an emotional return home for 3 Americans wrongfully detained in Russia, all released as part of a historic international prisoner exchange involving 7 countries. President Biden and Vice President Harris joining family members at Joint Base Andrews to welcome them back to the U.S.
How did you process this moment?
Great satisfaction and a feeling of relief for the family.
Among those now home, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, arrested while on assignment. Just last month, Gershkovich had been sentenced to 16 years for spying charges in what both the U.S. and the Journal called a sham trial. NBC Philadelphia speaking with Gershkovich after he landed.
Evan, how are you feeling?
I'm all right. It was a good flight.
Journalist Alsu Kurmasheva also freed. Kurmasheva touching down in time to celebrate her daughter's 13th birthday. The 3rd Marine veteran Paul Whelan speaking after arriving in Texas this morning.
Thank you for all your prayers, your good wishes.
Whelan was arrested in 2018 on espionage charges while attending a wedding, serving time in a notorious Russian penal colony. The U.S. government that long rejected those charges has been working for years to secure his release. But Whelan was excluded from 2 previous swaps, including when the U.S. exchanged a notorious arms dealer for WNBA star Brittany Griner. Griner, who is currently representing the U.S. women's basketball team in Paris, calling it a great day. The president earlier with family members at the White House touting the complex diplomatic efforts that involved months of negotiations.
Today is a powerful example of why it's vital to have friends in this world.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan becoming emotional as he discussed conversations with the families yesterday.
Not today. Today, excuse me. Today was a very good day.
In exchange for the American prisoners, 8 Russians convicted on a range of cyber, financial, and violent crimes returned to Moscow Thursday, receiving a hero's welcome from President Putin. Homecoming, officials say the culmination of nearly 2 years of effort by the Biden administration. The president aides here say spearheading this deal. He was on the phone with a European counterpart while home in Delaware with COVID just an hour before he announced he was dropping out of the 2024 presidential race and personally lobbying the German chancellor to help facilitate the swap. Olaf Scholz responding, according to an official here, "For you, I will do this." Back to you.
All right, Peter, thank you so much. Let's bring in former CIA Director John Brennan. He's also an NBC News national security intelligence analyst. Good to have you with us following such a huge day. Help us put into perspective the historic nature of this prisoner swap, a rare moment of cooperation or whatever you want to call it between the U.S. and Russia, along with other nations. Just how big was this news yesterday?
Well, it's very big, and it's unprecedented in terms of the size and scope. The fact that 7 countries were involved in this, and that we had well over a dozen individuals that were going to be exchanged. And as was pointed out, this has been a result of the conversations that have been taking place, the dialogue over the last couple of years. There has been an ongoing communication channel with Russia about trying to get Americans who have been unjustly detained in Russia released. And when the efforts were made to try to get Alexei Navalny out, a Russian dissident, but he unfortunately died while in prison. And so therefore there had to be, I think, a resetting of the chess pieces in terms of who would be involved in this deal. But the extent of the collaboration, coordination, and orchestration of this, doing it in secure channels, really is something that we've never seen before. And I think it's also testament to the fact that the Biden administration was able to carry out these very delicate negotiations while we have the war raging in Gaza, in Ukraine, the domestic political swirl. But this is what a White House is supposed to be doing, is constantly trying to ensure that U.S. national security interests are protected and advanced, and that was the case here.
After arriving late last night at Joint Base Andrews, Evan Gershkovich called for the release of political prisoners who remain in Russia jails. You mentioned the chess pieces. Does this prisoner swap perhaps open the door for more deals down the line, or are there just not that many people left to swap in a short period of time to make those deals happen?
Well, I think President Biden has said he's going to continue relentlessly to try to get individuals who have been unjustly and unlawfully detained in various countries returned. So I know that Jake Sullivan and other members of the Biden administration will continue to work this. There still are Americans in Russia as well as in other countries that I know the administration is trying to get out. But these are complicated, complex, and time-consuming negotiations. So again, what we are seeing, though, is that some of these regimes, these authoritarian regimes, like the Putin regime, take innocent Americans and innocent citizens of other countries as bargaining chips. So in addition to trying to negotiate the release of these individuals, we have to have a policy that tries to address this growing trend of state-sponsored hostage-taking, which is something that the United States needs to lead the free world, needs to lead the Western world in terms of countering.
Any thoughts on why Putin may have cut this deal now?
Well, I think that the individual who was released from Germany, Gershkovich, is somebody who is personally close to Putin and carried out an operation on the part of the Russian security services in terms of killing in broad daylight an individual in Germany. And so Putin has made this pledge. Putin is a former KGB officer himself. He's made a pledge that if you carry out my directions, as odious as they might be, I will do whatever I can to get you out. And so I think he's sending a signal to other operatives of Russian security intelligence services that, if I tell you to do something and if you happen to get caught, I will make sure that I do everything possible to get you released, which is what happened in this case.
All right. John Brennan, former CIA director, thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. On the campaign trail, former President Trump's running mate J.D. Vance is defending him against controversial comments he made about Vice President Kamala Harris's racial identity. NBC's Garrett Hake has the latest from Washington.
Those comments this week from Donald Trump about Kamala Harris's racial identity continue to echo across the political landscape yesterday, with neither candidate out on the campaign trail, as Republicans look to find their footing against Harris, who's preparing a big campaign announcement of her own soon. This morning, Donald Trump's false claims about Kamala Harris's racial identity casting a cloud over his campaign, as fellow Republicans urge him to change the subject.
She's always embraced her heritage proudly, as she should. My problem with Vice President Harris is the policy choices she's made.
Look, this election should not be about race. It should not be about gender. It should be about the issues.
The controversy over Harris's heritage stemming from these remarks about the vice president, the daughter of Jamaican and Indian immigrants, by Trump in a panel interview at a black journalism conference Wednesday.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I respect either one.
The former president then pressing his false claim in this social media post Thursday, writing, "Thank you, Kamala, for the nice picture you sent from many years ago," and noting her Indian heritage. While Harris has largely brushed off the remark, Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, looked to explain it in less divisive language on a visit to the southern border.
Trump's point is that she is a chameleon.
Trump also responding on Thursday to a new Democratic attack line, calling the Republican ticket weird.
He and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird?
Trump speaking out in a radio interview.
Well, they're the weird ones. Nobody's ever called me weird. I'm a lot of things, but weird I'm not.
Just this morning, the Harris campaign announcing that along with their allies, they have raised more than $300 million in July. That's more than double the Trump team's total and what the Harris campaign is calling a grassroots fundraising record. It comes as Harris is also preparing to roll out her running mate selection from what's believed to be a pool of 6 finalists. That announcement will come no later than Tuesday, when the Democratic ticket is set to appear together in Philadelphia.
All right, Garrett Hake, thank you so much. Let's get to your morning news now. Weather. We've got some stormy weather in the forecast. Angie Lastman's here with the details. Angie, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Just in time for the weekend. We've got some rain in that forecast, and some could be substantial. That's going to be real impactful here, even as we get to the end of the weekend and into early next week. But let's start with what we're dealing with right now. We've got some of these storms moving east this morning, specifically across parts of Pennsylvania and New York, mainly focused across the Great Lakes region this morning. But that's going to continue to work its way to the east here as the day goes on. Now, the good news news is we're not looking at really strong storms or severe storms, but we could have some general thunderstorms across this region that you see highlighted in green there. I think maybe some wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, but otherwise the tornado risk is on the lower end, even hail on the lower end. But we'll be watching that through this afternoon and into the evening hours. And here's why. The system's on the move, so you can see some of the scattered showers that I'm talking about working their way to the east. That front is going to be a slow mover, so even tomorrow we'll still have some of those showers and thunderstorms developing specifically into the afternoon hours across this region, the mid-Atlantic and points south of there. I think the flood risk will be centered across that region. Virginia, south to Georgia is where we'll be watching specifically for that as we get into tomorrow. But we've got the flood concern today, too. Notice this does include New York, Philadelphia, Scranton, stretching back towards Detroit, including Pittsburgh and Knoxville as well, with some of those showers and thunderstorms in the picture today. Those rainfall rates, impressive at times. I think 1 to 2 inches is where we'll kind of top out for some of these spots, but we could see some isolated amounts a little higher than that. Now, as we get into the weekend, a lot of folks I think are going to be wondering what's going on with this system, this tropical disturbance that's sitting just to the north of Haiti at this time. Notice where we're expecting the development zone in basically the Gulf of Mexico, the west coast of Florida. Now, there's still a lot of question marks with this. We still have a lot of uncertainty with the models. They're still disagreeing in some aspects, and some of those really important aspects are exactly where it develops, if it develops, how strong it becomes. All of that is going to come into better focus here as the day today and tomorrow goes on. But notice that latest guidance from the American model does keep it to the west of Florida. Now, will it be a tropical depression? Most likely. Could it be something stronger than that? Possibly. But again, that'll come into better focus here as the days go on. One of our biggest concerns, though, is going to be long duration heavy rainfall. And that's going to start here pretty soon. We're going to see a potential stall from this storm as we get into early next week. And that means that, again, a lot of rain in a short amount of time, or a lot of rain, rather, in a long period of time over some areas that already have some really saturated grounds. Now, today, the flash flood risk that we're going to be concerned about is going to be focused across the southern portions of Florida, Joe. But as we get into early next week, maybe the late weekend, that could be impacting folks in the Carolinas as well. We know their soil isn't quite as sandy, doesn't drain as well, so we'll be concerned about some flooding for folks there. What the system will be, TBD. We'll know better here in the next day or so.
You'll keep an eye on it. All right, Angie, thank you so much. Much more to come on this Friday edition of Morning News. Now, after the break, we're going to head back to Paris with the story of an undefeated Olympic wrestler from Cuba who's vying for a world record this time around. Plus, do you know the Muffin Man? Well, it turns out he's a Norwegian swimmer who's been making waves on TikTok, all for his love of one Olympic Village sweet treats. More on that after this. We're continuing our Olympic coverage with the story of a Cuban wrestler who is vying for his 5th Olympic gold medal in Paris. Mijaín Lopez has gone undefeated in 4 Olympic Games. If he wins this year, not only will he set an Olympic wrestling record, he could become the Olympian with the most gold medals in a single event. Jesse Losada from Telemundo Sports has his story.
Cuba, frozen in time. With its complicated history, rich culture, and beautiful tropical landscapes, today faces even more political and economical challenges. However, for its people, sports have always been a source of pride and joy because it has won over 235 Olympic medals, the highest count in all of Latin America. For 11 million Cubans on the island, Mijaín Lopez represents something very special.
Creo que el atleta que no sienta eso en Cuba, creo que no es deportista. Creo que todo lo que hacemos, lo hacemos por toda Cuba, por todas nuestras provincias, ya que donde quiera que estén siempre nos aportan un granito de arena. Eso es un regocijo de poder estar en una competencia y de saber de que detrás de una televisión hay 11 millones de habitantes que están gritando por ti y deseándote todo lo bueno para que tú tengas ese resultado.
Sports glory for Mijaín would begin by winning the gold at the 2003 Pan Am Games with a victory over Roulon Gardner, which would take him to his first Olympic Games in Athens, where he eventually placed 5th. It was not until Beijing 2008 where El Niño would begin his domination, carrying his flag for the first time and reaching for the top of the podium.
Beijing, la primera medalla, creo que fue alegría. Creo que eso para cualquier atleta creo que es algo grande, creo que es algo inspirante. Poder obtener esa medalla, una medalla en la cual ya te reafirma en lo que es el Olimpo. Y creo que fue algo muy porque creo que ya se rompió la inercia de Mijailov.
A gold in London 2012 proved his talent and dedication. 4 years later, in Rio 2016, Mijaín again conquered greatness, placing him among the greatest Olympic wrestlers. Then came Tokyo 2020, where his age never became a factor, winning all of his bouts without giving a single point to his rivals. For the last chapter in this brilliant career of El Niño, Mijaín would not have one of his greatest cheerleaders by his side, the man who inspired his career, his father.
Hoy vamos a ir a estos Juegos Olímpicos ya sin la presencia de mi padre. Creo que es una pata que le falta a la mesa, pero nada, creo que donde quiera que esté, él sabe quién dejó aquí, él sabe que dejó a Mijaíl López, el que él hizo, el que él plantó, que antes de morirse le dejó ese don de ser el mejor atleta del mundo entero. Esta medalla creo que va a ser algo en la cual va a ser con más actitud, porque se la voy a dedicar a él.
Niño,
es mi niño, no solo deportivamente, sino afectivamente. Creo que ocupo ahora un lugar y un compromiso que me dejó su padre. Te lo entrego, yo me conformo con la cuarta. Estoy conforme con la cuarta de oro. La quinta es de él y tuya.
Enfrentar un sexto Juego Olímpico y luchar por un quinto oro, creo que es algo, ¿no? Un sueño en el cual uno no se baja de esa nube. La nube que ni yo mismo hasta a veces durmiendo me lo creo, pero bueno, ya estoy ahí y estoy contento de poder estar aquí junto con todos los atletas, poder estar en París y retirarme lo más alto que existe, que es la Torre de París.
Our thanks to Telemundo's Jesse Losada for sharing that story. Team USA is celebrating another epic day of performances on Thursday. Katie Ledecky made a historic splash after she and the team won silver in the women's 4x200-meter free relay. That medal makes Ledecky the most decorated American female Olympian in history. Another one for the record books. Simone Biles won gold in the women's individual all-around final in gymnastics for a second time. First time was at the 2016 Games in Rio, about 8 years ago. That's pretty much an eternity in gymnastics. Only two other female gymnasts in Olympic history have won 2 all-around gold medals. Our self-proclaimed NBC News Olympics correspondent, I don't think self-proclaimed is the word there, but Jay Gray's been doing a great job for us. He's in Paris with the very latest. I proclaim you our Olympics correspondent. All right, let's see
That's
here.
all that matters to me, Joe. Thank you.
We've got Katie Ledecky, Simone Biles. They're pretty much creating a new level of goatness for Olympic athletes. They're not the only ones who took home hardware yesterday. Walk us through some of the big wins for Team USA.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's Olympic athletes who are the best at what they do. They're widely recognized that way. And then there's Ledecky and Biles up above that group. We are just on fire, and it's been amazing to watch. It's great to see. Let's start with men's fours rowing. They hadn't won a gold since 1960. They get on the water yesterday and come home with the gold. Just a medal we didn't expect, but we're seeing a lot of those in these Olympics, including in fencing. Are they on fire or what? I mean, fencing has been unbelievable. Women's fencing, the gold medal in the team competition, that has been fantastic to see as well. And then the pool. I mean, the pool's always a strong place for Team USA to harvest some of those medals, but they're every night bringing something home. Katie Douglas last night in the 200 breast with the gold, and Reagan Smith setting an American record in the 200 fly. Now listen, she didn't touch the wall first. Still setting that American record, though, and finishing with the silver. Just great to see such a strong first week for the American team, Jeff.
All right, here's the one we've been waiting for, Jay. This is the Olympian who is eating up the competition, not necessarily for athletic prowess. Norwegian swimmer Henri Christensen has declared himself the Olympic Muffin Man. Let's take a listen.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Yeah.
All right, so he's got like 3 million views for that video. He's posted many others. Bottom line, there's these amazing chocolate muffins. A, have you had the muffin? B, just tell us more about how folks are reacting to this.
This has gone viral and exploded here in Paris. Everyone talking about the Muffin Man, and it's been great to see the 27-year-old swimmer from Norway. This is his third Olympics, but the first time he's shared his obsession for the delectable, tasty treat. It's been great to see him and see everyone's response to him in all of this. No, Joe, I've got to tell you, these are muffins that are made in the Athletes' Village, and I haven't had the muffins. I'm not much of a muffin man myself, but I have to tell you, and I have to confess, it's the croissants. I have a serious problem with the croissants here. They are so good. I can't get away from them. I have them everywhere I go. The croissants are amazing here in Paris, and I'm not going to stop. I may not make it home. There are too many croissants here, and my clothes aren't going to fit when I'm all said and done, but I love the croissants.
I have another question to ask you. I don't know if I can, or just keep eating the croissants. I mean, what are we watching today, Jay?
I think, first of all, it's going to be great to see track and field really get underway. You've got Sha'Carri Richardson, who is going to be on the track for the first time here in Paris. She's had a great world competition leading into all of this. That should look good. Back to the pool, several opportunities. I get a little croissant there. Several opportunities. Caleb Dressel in the 50 won the gold in Tokyo. He's looking to repeat here. He's already won a gold here. It's called the Splash and Dash. It's the fastest swimmer in the arena, and that'll be fun to watch as well. Men's soccer, man, it's been great to see them. They kind of struggled off the top. They played Morocco today, though, and if they can get through that, they're in the semis. So that's something that wasn't really expected. You know what I'm going to do, Joe? I'm going to get a little coffee, have a few croissants. I'm going to watch the rest of the competition.
As you should. Jay Gray gets the gold medal for eating croissants. Wow. While delivering an Olympic report. Jay, appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Coming up, another key endorsement for Vice President Kamala Harris this morning, one that President Biden himself failed to win. After the break, how support from America's first national Muslim group could potentially sway some voters, not only focused on the war in Gaza, but issues facing black people here at home, too. We're going to dig deeper next. Welcome back. As the race for the White House becomes a sprint, Vice President Kamala Harris has secured a political endorsement from a group that President Biden failed to win over himself. In an NBC News exclusive, the Black Muslim Leadership Council says that it is supporting Harris for her position on issues at home and abroad, especially the war in Gaza. NBC News Washington correspondent Yamiche Alcindor reports.
The first national Muslim organization that had been uncommitted to President Joe Biden is endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris.
I think that this election comes down to the decision between an authoritarian regime and a democratic government. Vice President Harris has a proven track record. She has been the best on many issues that pertain to my community.
The group, the Black Muslim Leadership Council, was founded earlier this year to both call for a permanent ceasefire in the Middle East and to advocate for domestic issues impacting black people. Salima Suswell is the group's founder and chief executive.
Why do you think it's important to endorse Vice President Harris in this moment?
During Netanyahu's address before Congress, she decided not to attend. She also has repeatedly called for a ceasefire. And I believe that she has expressed empathy towards civilian life in Gaza, as well as the importance of getting aid to the people of Gaza. Former President Trump, he called for annihilation and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. During the first debate, he said that Israel should finish the job. This is very, very concerning.
In April, Susswell met with Biden and Harris at the White House, but didn't want to commit to supporting Biden.
It wasn't an easy meeting for the president. I mean, we were really tough on him.
What do you see as the big difference between Vice President Harris, who is part of the Biden-Harris administration, and President Biden when it comes to Gaza?
Quite honestly, I am not going to speculate that there is a huge difference, but I will say that she has expressed more sympathy. I think she's more open to having conversations around ending the war.
In March, Harris made headlines during a speech commemorating Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama, calling the situation in Gaza a, quote, humanitarian catastrophe.
And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. For at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in.
Then, just days after launching her presidential campaign, Harris met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, walking a political tightrope by saying Israel had her, quote, unwavering commitment, but again calling attention to the plight of the Palestinian people.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering. And as I just told Prime Minister Netanyahu, it is time to get this deal done.
Susswell added, though, that her group was also moved by Harris's vision for the future of America.
Economic opportunity, pay equity, healthcare, education, public safety, and policing. Vice President Harris has been strong and has been a leader on these issues as well.
Now, Susswell says her group will focus on turning out voters in key swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia.
All right, Michelle Sindor, thank you so much. Let's get to some international news. In Nigeria, protests over the country's economic crisis have turned deadly. NBC's Claudio Lavanga has that and other world headlines. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. A human rights group says that at least 13 protesters have been killed so far and that hundreds more have been arrested. Now, that rally has been dubbed Day of Rage, drew thousands to push back against the country's worst economic crisis in a generation. Things appeared to get out of control when some protesters were seen on live television looting warehouses and damaging public property. A curfew has been declared in 3 states across the country, while human rights groups criticize the violent crackdown. Let's go to Asia now, where extreme weather has been sweeping the continent all week long. Rain-related disasters have killed more than 200 people in India and China. Just as many have gone missing in the past week after torrential rains and flooding battered the 2 countries. We reported earlier this week about India, where the death toll is up now to around 167 people. Landslides have devastated crops, destroyed homes, and sent torrents of mud and water through villages. And Lahore, Pakistan's cultural capital, saw record rainfall. Authorities say that this year's storms have intensified due to climate change. And let's end this tour of the world in England, where a combination of artificial intelligence and robotics may help farmers in the near future remove weeds and monitor crops. It's called Claws, and it can get into tough spots where farmers and other equipment cannot. Its makers, a company called Earth Rover, says it can be compared with a schoolboy with magnifying glasses. It takes photographs, assesses and identifies the crop beneath it and the weed around it, and it then kills only the weed with a small pulse of energy. Back to you, Joe.
All right, Claudio, thank you so much. Coming up, a fresh look at the state of America's economy this morning. After the break, we're going to dig into July's critical jobs report, what it says about the millions of new college graduates entering the workforce this summer. Are they getting the offers they'd hoped for? Stay with us. That's next. As we've been reporting throughout the show, the U.S. government announced that massive prisoner exchange with Russia and other countries. Now, as part of the historic deal, the Russian government released high-profile Americans here, including Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. Among the people included in the exchange is a wealthy young Russian entrepreneur who was incarcerated in a U.S. federal prison for his role in one of the most damaging insider trading schemes in Wall Street history. CNBC senior Washington correspondent Eamon Javers joins us now. He's been following this case for over a year. He's got a new digital documentary and podcast about it. Eamon, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. This is the story of one of the most damaging insider trading rings of all time and the FBI and Department of Justice operation that tracked it down. Our new documentary is called Putin's Traitor, and it reveals how hackers based in Moscow were able to access financial information for scores of American companies and trade on it illegally for years. Here's a sneak peek. On March 21st, 2021, an up-and-coming young Russian oligarch and his wife touched down in their private jet at tiny Sion Airport in the Swiss Alps. It's a wedding anniversary celebration, and they're on their way to a luxurious ski vacation. Sion is the gateway to the famed resort of Zermatt, where the elite go to ski and to party. Sion is still an hour's drive from the slopes, so the truly wealthy take a short walk across the tarmac and board helicopters to take them directly to the slopes. The oligarch's name is Vladislav Kliushin, and at this moment, he's at the absolute height of his powers. He's built a fabulously successful company, he's cultivated connections at the highest levels of the Russian government, and he works for the office of the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. But what the oligarch doesn't know is that U.S. law enforcement has been monitoring the flight since it left Moscow, and they want to charge him with crimes that go to the heart of the American financial system. The victims are investors in iconic American companies, including names on the cutting edge of the U.S. economy like Tesla, Snapchat, and Roku. At stake is the integrity of American capital markets. It's all part of the dangerous underworld of the global financial system. One veteran Russian spy tells me the Kremlin sees financial markets as America's strength and a target to attack. To protect him, we agreed to conceal his identity. But this man, who worked for Vladimir Putin's intelligence service, says the case of Vladislav Kliushin was just one small part of a much bigger Russian operation against Western finance. Kliushin's story is just the part that we can see. Now, I want you to take a look at this video yesterday. This is the Russian prisoners being greeted in Moscow by Vladimir Putin. Here we can see the very first person that Kliushin sees there in the tan shirt with the short sleeves as he steps onto Russian soil is Russian President Vladimir Putin. You can watch the documentary. It's called Putin's Traitor. It's now on cnbc.com/Putin's Traitor doc, or by scanning the QR code on the lower right-hand corner of your screen right now. We're also going to release a longer version of this as a podcast. It's called The Crimes of Putin's Traitor. That'll be available on August 15th. It's a story, Joe, that's full of twists and turns and amazing details here about the lavish lifestyles of these Moscow-based conspirators, including their sports cars, their yacht trips, and all the private jets and all the stuff that you want when you're a corrupt Russian oligarch.
Yeah, no kidding. So, Eamon, I mean, how surprised were you when you learned that Kliushin was part of this deal yesterday?
You know, we worked on this documentary for nearly a year. We knew the whole time that he was a candidate for a trade, and there were a lot of rumors swirling around the whole way through. It wasn't until earlier this week we were actually doing fact-checking and final edits on the documentary, which was scheduled to come out today. Earlier this week, I typed in Kliushin's name into the federal inmate locator system at the Bureau of Prisons just to fact-check a couple of details, and the entry came up blank. And all of a sudden, we knew that something was up as of Tuesday this week because he was no longer in custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So we knew something was happening. We knew his lawyer could no longer get in touch with him earlier this week, but we didn't know exactly what was happening until we saw the name officially announced yesterday.
Wow, you must have been like, that seems suspicious here. Let's talk bigger picture here. I mean, this is part of a larger organized network. Can Wall Street make changes to try and prevent something like this from happening again?
You know, it's really hard. As powerful as these big Wall Street banks are, they have enormous resources, enormous brain power, vast computing experience. Even so, it's difficult for them to go toe-to-toe with nation states. And in this case, what we learned in the documentary is that Vladislav Kliushin was working hand in glove with a former GRU, Russian intelligence hacker, who then worked for him in the private sector. So they had access to absolute top Russian hacking talent. It's just very difficult for Wall Street to go against those guys, and that's why they need help from the U.S. government.
All right, Eamon, thank you so much. Really appreciate your reporting and joining us this morning. As he said, you can watch the full documentary. It's called Putin's Traitor, now at cnbc.com/Putin's Traitor doc, or you can scan that QR code on your screen. Now to some breaking economic data. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released the July jobs report this morning. Pretty big headline. The U.S. economy added just 114,000 jobs last month. That's compared with 206,000 in June, 218,000 in May. So here to help us understand what all the numbers mean for you, NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung. Brian, good morning. Walk us through the jobs report, how it compares to previous months. I mean, bottom line, this is a big drop and bigger than expected.
Yeah,
right?
Here's the thing. You mentioned that it was a slower pace of job gains than in previous months, but it was also well below what estimates were from Wall Street for how many jobs would be added in the month, which they already expected would have been a slowdown. They thought about 185,000 jobs would have been added. As you mentioned, the number that we got was just 114,000. That's around here. So again, when we talk about the slowing pace of job gains in this country, you can see the 206, 218, 300,000 numbers that we were getting in previous months. Now, of course, that naturally lends itself to the question, okay, well, the unemployment, what does unemployment look like in this country? Well, I want to show you a chart historically of what the unemployment rate has looked like in this country over the last 5 years. You can see that unusual spike during the pandemic, almost up to 15%. For the most part, we've been hovering around these historical lows in the 3.4, 3.5% range. It has since been ticking up, and the latest reading that we got from just this morning is that the unemployment rate in this country is at 4.3%. Again, not a noticeable spike compared to what we've been seeing over the past 5 years, but again, a little bit higher than that 3.4, 3.5% mid-threes unemployment rate we had seen in the post-pandemic period and also in the lead up to the pandemic. We'll have to watch for those trends in the months to come.
You always do such a great job of breaking it down for us. So where are we seeing the biggest slowdown? Where is the economy still healthier? And also, I'm thinking about graduation season ending. Are these new grads finding places to enter the workforce?
Yeah, absolutely. If you spent 4 years in college, what does the job market look like for you now? I want to point out some industries from this jobs report that we got. Healthcare and also construction are adding jobs at a pretty healthy clip. When we talk about 55,000 jobs added in the month of July, construction jobs, 25,000 jobs. Government jobs also increased as well, up 17,000. In leisure and hospitality, these are bars and restaurants, added 23,000 jobs in the month as well. We have to remember that, yes, this is a slowdown in job gains, but we still saw job gains broadly in some of these industries. Healthcare, this is going to be an industry where if you are coming out with a nursing degree or a medicine degree, that could be good for you. But I want to point out one industry that did not see pretty strong job gains, and that was, I'm going to write it over here, 20,000, or rather, sorry about that, I really messed up there, 20,000 jobs lost in information. That would be the big bucketed industry for things like, for example, media and also tech. So if you are graduating with some of those degrees, it could be a tough jobs market based off of what we've seen in this report.
A lot of people are graduating with those degrees. All right, Brian Chung, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Coming up, if it's Friday, that can mean only one thing. We've got your can't miss list after the break. It's the latest and greatest from the world of Hollywood and beyond. We went from one Brian to another Brian. Who better to give us the rundown than pop culture expert friend of the show, Brian Balthazar. He joins us next. Stay with us. Let's begin to wrap this hour with one man's mission to bring classic sounds to the streets of Paris. Alex Cabrero of our Salt Lake City affiliate KSL has more on his quest to bring some mood music to the City of Light.
Paris has always been busy. It's a place many people dream of visiting, and a place millions do visit every single year.
Oh, sorry.
Throw in an Olympics, and things can get hectic fast. Fighting all those crowds and standing in endless lines, it can be easy to forget the romanticism of Paris. Which is where Dragon Constantine comes in. It's a sound that is as Paris as the Eiffel Tower. And when Constantine plays, he's hoping people stop being busy, even if just for a minute.
I look, I play music, it just films, dancing, anytime dancing here, yeah.
English isn't his first language, it's not even his second. But music, well, it's a universal language where notes can make you feel something without a single word.
I play heart. Play heart. Me. I play emotion. Very, very emotion.
He's passionate about his music, about how his accordion can truly make people pause, even in the middle of a crowded Olympic city, and remember, the best way to see Paris is to simply slow down.
For me, peace. Peace.
Thanks to Alex Cabrero for that report. Finally this hour, it's Friday, which means it's time for your weekly can't-miss list. All the films and shows and other stuff you need to see this weekend. Entertainment journalist, pop culture expert Brian Balthazar is here. All right, so we have to start off with movies. M. Night Shyamalan's new movie is Trap. It's got Josh Hartnett.
Yes.
He's a serial killer.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Nothing
Maybe
is
he's
what
not.
it seems to be, right? Okay, so here's the thing. You
Right.
never know
Of
what the
course.
real story is here.
Yeah.
But it turns out Josh Hartnett is a father who takes his daughter to a concert that's very Olivia Rodrigo-esque concert.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the pop singer is played by M. Night's daughter in the movie.
Okay.
But it turns out that he kind of, Josh Hartnett's character gets tipped off that it's actually a sting operation to catch a killer. And we start to learn through the trailer, at least, is Josh Hartnett this killer? But of course, nothing is what it seems to be in this film. And what's interesting is this kind of story of this sting operation is inspired by actual events that took place in 1985 called Operation Flagship, when police in D.C. had tricked over 100 fugitives into thinking they may have won free tickets to the Super Bowl. So they had reserved, can you believe this has really happened? They reserved this convention center, and they had over 100 officers dressed as fans, as cheerleaders, as concession stand workers. They staged a whole event much like this and made 101 arrests that day.
Wow, that's
you know,
good
if you think
strategy.
you
You
want
can only
tickets
do
to
that
a
so
football
many
game, yeah,
times.
right, exactly. But this is obviously a different storyline, but it's inspired by that kind of sting operation that could be taking place. This is in theaters right now.
Very cool. All right, Kneecap. This is based on a true story about a group of rappers who use their music to keep the Irish language alive, but very controversial.
Right. They're very polarizing. Hip-hop rap group. The original members of the group actually played themselves in this, and it's how they rose to fame, and also how they really polarized British and Northern Irish politicians with their civil rights lyrics, their lyrics about Republican politics. And so it's a really interesting story, partially subtitled. Obviously, it's about the Irish language, so there's a mix of English and Irish in there.
And I would need the subtitles regardless.
Yeah, right, exactly. So this is, if you're a music fan, know who you are, then that's for you.
All right, speaking of music fans, Lollapalooza, real quick, what's the lineup
you can
in
stream
Chicago?
that. Yeah, let's see. Stray Kids, SZA, Chappell Roan, Megan Thee Stallion, Blink 182. It goes on Sunday through Sunday, I should say, on Hulu.
And you can watch it on Hulu. I'm all about Chappell Roan these days. Okay, a little bit of a change. Our next show is called The Change. Follows a woman who thinks she might be getting dementia, then finds out it's something different.
Right. Okay. So she's 50 years old, and she finds out that she has she's got menopause, actually, and it's on BritBox, and it's got that. If you love the comedy of British humor, you're going to love this. She's really endearing. She goes to live in the woods, gets a vacation away from her kids, just to rediscover herself. It's a coming of a certain age movie, or series, I should say.
You love Betrayal.
Oh my God, it's so gripping. Okay, this is based on the popular podcast. You do not have to have watched season 1 to see season 2.
Oh, that's always good to know.
It's a gripping story, true docuseries about a woman whose husband calls her and says, "You need to get in my computer. I need some information." And he quickly backtracks. Like say, no, never mind. And that's a red flag, by the way. So she discovers a hidden folder on the laptop, including photos that will unfold a crazy, serious, devastating chain of events. What unfolds, there's twists and turns. It's a true story. Again, a popular podcast also hosted by Andrea Gunning. If you like true crime, this is going to have your jaw on the floor by the time you're done watching it.
A lot of people will be into that one. All right, we got 30 seconds left. A new dramedy on Netflix, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder.
Right. Okay. A teen is determined to solve and find the real killer of a 17-year-old girl who was killed 5 years earlier. She's convinced they got the wrong guy, and she's going to solve this herself. This is on Netflix. Charming kind of teen kind of detective crime. If you like crime and if you like mysteries.
It's like a modern Nancy Drew?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's based on Holly Jackson's book series.
All right, very cool. Brian, so much to cover, so much to watch. It's going to be raining and hot, so
Stay inside.
Watch the Olympics.
Right.
Watch all this stuff. Let's do it for this hour of morning news now. Stick with us, though. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.